Good morning.
Hi, Anil.
Hi, going. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. So, let's start.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning, Anil. Good morning, Deepshikha. Thank you for joining today. Thank you for taking out time on Saturday morning. I know it's very important and uh, taking out time from personal engagement. We really value it a lot. So, thank you once again. And thank you, audience, for joining. Welcome you all. Welcome you all. And one of the purposes of job webinar, Joy of Performing webinar, is to bring forward those industry leaders and hear firsthand from them their experience. It's not about the data, it's just a dialogue. It's about hearing their experience, what they want to talk about on the topics that really matters. And we are committed to bring you those topics, those small topics which really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very quickly, I'll share what JOB stands for. Joy of Performing stands for building high performance culture. We continuously strive to help leaders and organizations to enhance business performance and people performance. And all our topics that we select for webinars are related to the same. So very quickly, jumping on introducing the topics today, that is nurturing a culture of continuous improvement. We'll learn from our eminent panelists about the continuous improvement and what is exactly that culture of continuous improvement, even what is continuous, because improvement we have heard about a lot. I'll just share, just to set the webinar into motion, I'll start with two famous quotes. Uh, one by Benjamin Franklin, which says that to succeed in the world, you have to change all the time. Another one is from the Mark Zuckerberg. We all know Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
And for people who are into IT, they must have heard it some or read it some or other way. The hacker way. The hacker way is an approach to building that involves continuous improvement and iteration. Hackers believe that something can always be better and nothing is ever complete. So with that, I'll start the webinar and let me again welcome Ms. Deepshikha Balwani and Mr. Anil Tyagi, who are from two different worlds, though they are related, they are from HR fraternity, but from two different worlds. I'll like to invite them and to speak about themselves, to introduce quickly about themselves. So, Deepshikha, can we hear it from you, a brief about yourself?
Yeah, Ravi, thank you for having us here. About me, I'm a very unconventional person, a professional. I never set boundaries for myself. As the topic says, it's very interesting, like continuous improvement. And I think once you are an unconventional personality, you really believe on continuous improvement. So I did in the life from the very young age. So it's been 18 years. Like I started my career in a very young age, I think at the age of 17. We can think of going to school, colleges. I was looking forward to work for a company so that I can gain experience and I can really go in life and play with the real life incidences. So that was I was. And if you ask me, going forward in my journey, after investing around 8 years with the companies, it's been around 10 years. I'm into the consulting work, consulting startups, specifically on various framework. A part of that, in bit around 6 years, has been into the transformation coaching, mindset healing as well, and now author. So I have changed different hat. As I saw the life was showing up to me, and with the experience, and this is definitely have happened through continuous improvement. While looking inside, checking my inner core belief, what version I am being, and what I have to become. So that's all about me.
Beautiful, Deepshika, and I think so. You have connected the dots beautifully and taken it to the personal well, because continuous improvement, if we want to bring in within the organization, it starts from an individual.
Within you.
Yeah, within you.
Within
Sir,
us.
Yeah.
please, Anilji.
Yeah. So, a very good morning once again, and pleasure being here with you, Ravi, Deepshikha, and everyone.
Thank
So,
you.
when you invited me for this topic, continuous improvement, fostering culture of continuous improvement. So, I like start with me myself first. When I see my own evolutions, like I joined Indian Air Force at the age of 18, only after 10 plus 2, and then subsequently doing all educations over there, graduation, post graduation, and then working as an engineer initially in my career, and then subsequently changing my stream and coming into HR. So continuous improvement for me particularly is a very topic which is very close to me. Like starting as from a village background, you reach up to a stage of a global HR head in one of the healthcare industry. So that's how it is about me. Like I started, and then till, and it goes on, that continuous improvement process, be it for organization, be it for individual, it is continuous process, and you keep on doing. So that's how it is. Basically, I'm engineer, I'm a global HR head over here now, and I feel like it is not only for organizations. When we talk about, I think it is start from me, from self, and when it starts from self, I think you can contribute better to the organization and to the other people around you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anilji. And audience, I think so. Today's webinar is going to be very exciting. We are really going to learn firsthand from two very diverse people who have come from different backgrounds, who have shaped their career, who have shaped themselves continuously. They've strived for the success continuously, and they have shaped their career. And I'm really excited. Thank you once again. Thank you. Uh, let's quickly jump to the questions. Let's start. Uh, and audience, please, you can post your questions in the Q&A session anytime during the webinar. I'll take it up. Anilji, I'll come to you first. Uh, See, there are two things. One is the improvement and one is the continuous improvement. So we would like to understand, based on your experience, what are those key principles of fostering a culture of continuous improvement, and why it is important for leadership point of view.
Very right, Ravi. I think very
Over to you.
relevant questions, like you are putting to me, which is very important. Continuous improvement is not only, like which is you desire, it is a necessity for the organization, and you can't really survive in today's world without this. So when I see that some key elements for continuous improvement, there's three things come in my mind. One is your effective leadership, second is your methodology, and third is the technology. Technology is all these three things plays a very important. I have seen in my experience, sometimes your effective leadership is there. Leadership is willing to bring this continuous improvement or changes. Uh, you don't have right process or method to do it. And many a time, if you have both of it, then sometimes you don't have technology. You are not enabled technology into that aspects. So what I feel like that this is tripod kind of where all the three has to be in sync. That's very important. So your technology, your methodology, and leadership, all three needs to be synced to have continuous improvement or even improvement. Now, why and how it is important for leadership? I think it's very important for leadership. Now, like I come from a healthcare industry. Just see that COVID and post-COVID, how many variants even of coronavirus we have seen. So now, being into healthcare industry, you need to be always keep on doing innovations in terms of your product development, your product efficacy, product efficiencies, and then how you bring that cost efficiencies, quality, and then timely deliverable. So this is all wish list which all of us have, and how you can do it. You can do it through people, through your process methodology improvement and with the continuously improving one after other. So that is something is very, very important for leadership to understand. They need to understand that continuous improvement, culture of continuous improvement is not something as cosmetics. It is a necessity, not only in your people process. Generally, sometimes what I have seen, many of my HR colleagues, they feel culture of continuous improvement revolve around people. But I have a different take. It is people, of course, but same times performance and how you link this with your business goal, with your vision and mission, and then how you propel it. So that is where the leadership roles comes very important. Like in Kusum Healthcare, we say quality and health for everyone. So our all process, development process, improvement process is being linked on that parameter. So I think that is something is very, very important for me. And leadership, they have to, otherwise you will be very fast obsolete in market if you don't go for this development.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Leadership alignment or leadership commitment towards continuous improvement is very important. And how they, it's not just about how they think, it is about how they're committed, how they can find out time and be involved in the process of creation, of execution. And definitely, yes, without technology, today we are living in a technology world. The technology is a great enabler. Very, very insightful. Thank you. Deepshikha, I'll come now to you. You have worked for startups and you are helping startups. So taking up the same question, what are the key principles of fostering a culture of continuous improvement? So let us understand, why is that important for startups? And is in the startup world, do the principles differ?
No, I don't think so. In startup, organization has two challenges. One is like definitely making profits. Second is maturing up as an organization. Why people join startup? The employees join startup to learn more. So I think the responsibility on the head of startups comes in a more corrective way, that they should provide that continuous improvement environment. And why it is important? Because everyone in the life in startup becomes startup because they believe in their idea. They believe what solution they are bringing into the market, they can really solve something out of it. And if they do not bring the continuous improvement, they don't feel it, like if they don't go by that continuous improvement, they won't be able to survive. They won't be able to mature up as an organization. So I think as an individual or as in startup, you need to really look at why it is important to look at what version you are today and what you would like to become tomorrow. So when you see that what version you would like to become, automatically you gain the psyche, what principles we need to adopt. Like I will name few is like growth mindset, which is very important. If I don't check as a startup within me, where I'm standing, where I have to reach, I will be in the fancy world, and the dream world, it will happen by automatically. And that's how startups are failing. And that's how startups are succeeding, whosoever is succeeding. So I think growth mindset of the founder is very, very, very important. Second is that he needs to believe in his idea. What solution he's bringing in the mindset, it will work. He needs to believe in his idea in his own convictional way, the way he is going, the way he's taking his people along. And third important thing I feel is like setting up clear objectives and key results for the organization, and how this is not only setting up, but how he's inculcating into his downline, which is important. Another thing which I feel is important is definitely lack of mentorship, which we see and why it has happened. Not most of the time. Sometimes funding is the problem. Sometimes they think it's not required at all. I think as a startup, the mind should open up that every minute continuous improvement is important. So lack of mentorship should not be there. They should really hire people whosoever can help. As a founder, they just know their idea well. They just know what solution they can provide. They are not HR specialists. They are not business specialists. They don't know how to make sales. So they need to learn. And each and every step, continuous improvement take place. Collaborations take place. Adapt to change is the another element and principle, I would say. I would say fostering the environment where people can make mistake and learn from their mistake can be one of the principle. Another principle can be having the value set up and taking your principle along while you are moving ahead in the journey of startup. So this is all, I think it's every day there is something new to learn startup. And I think that's what make me interested working with startup or SMEs founders more closely, because I see a challenge every day.
Thank you, Deepshikha. Thank you. Very nicely put, and you have concised the whole startup culture and whole startup problems also. That's definitely it's about growth for startups, because it's always because of lack of funding and because they are bootstrapped. So if they do not change on on a continuous basis, definitely yes, they are not going to survive. And the principles like how they can adopt it, principles like how they can collaborate together. These things are very important, and definitely yes. One of the key is mentorship. How continuous improvement can be inculcated within them, and if at times they do not understand, because they are best in what they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is external force required. There is external help required. So audience, anyone from the startups, please uh, remember that how continuous improvement is important, and why it is a necessity now. Okay, moving forward. Now, without problems, nothing can be nothing can be implemented. There are problems in whatever we want to do, and continuous improvement, because it's not just about improvement. It's about continuous improvement. And now, post COVID, we have really seen that why it is important. We have seen those practical aspects. So Deepshikha, can we hear from your experience, what problems did you face when you tried implementing that continuous improvement culture within some startups or within some organizations you are helping?
So definitely, as I said, the very first one is a mindset. And before I start working with any startup, I say, clear your mindset first. And I, as a consultant, do not prefer to work even if they don't have mindset, because until we don't have mindset, growth mindset, we can't achieve what we want to achieve, neither in business, nor in strategy, not in alignment for our team. And the word you said, problem, it's been many years I've started calling it as possibility. Itself shows up, that's not problem. If you go deep in the asset, it's a possibility to create something new, to take off. And that's how we look at in the world. When problem arise in the world and startup starts and they solve it. So it's a possibility in the business world. Right? So problem is no problem no more now. We should address this as a possibility number one. So first, definitely when I try and take up the project, I talk about my personal experiences with my founders. Resistance comes in because our mind itself is made like that we are always in our comfort zone. We want to work, but where we are working, we don't want to change. So when we don't have growth mindset, or even we have, still resistance come. And we need to accept that resistance will come. It's bound to come. We need to not fight with it, but we need to be with it. We need to accept it, and we still needs to go on. Second is like consistency. So second challenge is definitely once we adapt it, still are we able to being consistent with our practices? As a startup, I know 3 different things I need to do in this quarter. Am I able to do it to see that change? Or I'm just making excuses or making other thing as my priority? Other challenges what I face is like setting up priorities again. If I have to do review system or I need to call it for funding, am I taking it on priority? As you said, mentorship is very important. I think third challenge, I will say people, which is very big, that founders they need help, but they take months of taking that decision, which can be resolved. And I think this was one of the reason I came into consulting, because as a head HR, I was not seeing my purpose was getting solved. I was waiting for approvals to get, connected to a policy in the company. Yeah. So I think these are the elements if a startups takes care of and they become quick, and startups are doing it. They are understanding with a 20 employee company, they are understanding the meaning of review system, the meaning of mentorship. We are lacking here. And people who have this mindset, they make decision quickly. People don't have growth mindset. So I think biggest problem I would say is mentality, solid mentality, solid gaps. If they see it, they are able to cover it. Otherwise, they just be with it. And
Thank
eventually,
you.
until they realize it's very
Yeah,
late.
it's very late. Yeah, thank you. Resistance and definitely yes, when we see that uh, that there's a need, we have seen that okay, now we need that. Still, leadership takes a lot of time to get it going.
Yeah.
So with these two things, I'll come to you, Anilji, okay, because you're global HR head. So do you find that there's a resistance? Because any change is prone to resistance. It is bound to happen. So what kind of a resistance you face? And also, do you see that in your role right now or in your previous roles, leadership, if it is proved or if it is required that this is a framework or continuous improvement needs to be enhanced. Now let us implement something new, maybe a technology. So what kind of a resistance you faced in getting those initiatives approved from the management leadership?
Okay, Ravi and Deepshikha, I think this is very, very important for HR leaders or even any leaders. And I think there is where you and Deepshikha kind of people, those who or consultancies expertise can help the organizations like us or all others. Why? Because you have that expertise and all that. But that what is very important, and as you talked about the resistance, my experience in the organization, in this organization only I'm from last 10 years, we did a lot of changes, SAP implementation, HR automations, on training and development and all that. But then coming to your question first, like resistance, how it is. The important part is for any leader is to understand and give a purpose to the management, to the employees, why we need it. That is WIFM. Why it is, what is in it for me? I think that is something is very, very important to create a purpose, and around that purpose you revolve your all these things. Challenges comes like today if you come into corporate world, you'll find everyone is busy. They have uh, n number of works needs to be done, and priority changes because we are getting from VUCA to Bani and all that. So that is priority changes. But one thing which is that resistance, how it comes. Many a times, even if you create a purpose, the clarity of communications is not there. Many times, willingness of management itself. Many times I have seen that you start the project, but then priority comes and you just go for other projects and also that management's commitment to that is very, very important, which we sometimes lack. Role clarity. Sometimes, your process mapping and all that creates challenges. But the most important challenges, which I understand, and I have seen in most of the, like in my organization, if you see Kusum Healthcare is export-oriented organizations, and we are starting a number of, new initiatives. Many organizations, I have seen that when you come go for an initiative, management, as Deepshikha was telling, takes a lot of time to approve and all that. Whereas in our case, it was reverse. And when it was reverse, so there's a many and number of projects I started at a time. If I talk about, I'll talk it later, 4 or 5 years back. But then, what was one thing? We created a purpose. We made a very effective communications, regular communication, people and all that. But most important is to understand the power dynamics within the organizations. That is in contextual, that power dynamics, department wise, organization wise, even individual wise. So if you, and generally, like I also failed in one of the project, if you have only top down approach and impose the things, what happens? You secretively and subtly way people will push it up, because ultimately any continuous improvement, if you want to, you have to done it through the people, and then people needs to be taken into consideration. Apart from that, what happens many a times, organizations start new initiatives, but they don't take care of proper reward and incentives. You expect people to put extra efforts for your projects. then you need to have a proper reward and incentive schemes. You need to not only publicly recognize the people, have a proper review timelines, and management and top leaders has to be committed. There can't be like that, you start 5 projects and I myself says, okay, SAP project is going on, I don't have time. X, you go and do. So it's commitment of the leadership, and their willingness also is very, very important of to to create this kind of continuous culture of continuous improvement in the organization. So that is what is my take over here. Like uh, top management has to, and the collaborative, as I think Deepshikha has covered many points out of it, that collaborative approach. The one more important things which I think becomes barrier for any kind of any change or improvement is fear of failure. So that fear of failure, I think that is where leadership has to create a culture around it. It's fine if sometimes you fail. It's not every time. If sometimes you fail, it's fine. Come on, open and transparent culture that organization has to. What I have seen many a times when I was talking about departmental dynamics or power dynamics, when you do a project, you have different cross-functional team working on the project. How do you collaborate, and how do you sometimes see, I have seen many times that conflict will come up. Mera kaam, tera kaam, this, that, I have done, he has not done, that is not done, kind of. So how do you have champions or expert, maybe within your team or from expert like you and Deepshikha, who can create that kind, how you like conflict resolutions. I think conflict resolutions in a positive way is one of the key. Otherwise, what happens, like when it comes to mine, yours, and all that, and you don't take care of this 4, 5 basic things, your project is bound to, your improvement is going to be blocked. So that is what is my take on this, Ravi.
Very nicely, and I think so. I'm really excited on this webinar because what I'm hearing are from two very diverse leaders, two are different kind of experience from two different tangents. I'm loving it, and I think so. You very rightly said that one needs to, as a consultant, also one needs to understand the role dynamics. And you have really given me a very beautiful word wallet. What is in it for me, WIFM, and I'll try to implement that also. Because we need to understand whenever we talk about continuous improvement. So one needs to understand personally at individual level what is there for me. And definitely, yes, very nicely you've bought and you've addressed this fear, because fear of failure. If we are not ready to fail, I think so we are not going to be successful. There is no improvement. We'll not even take first step of that improvement. And you have also given us our next topic, I think so. I'll really try to cover this, because this is a great topic of fear of failure. Okay, and how can this be addressed, and how leaders are addressing with their leadership, with their teams. Thank you once again.
If you can allow me, I will
Okay.
add one practical
Please.
I think we have time expectation, practical aspect of it.
Please.
And that's how leadership also is courage by conviction. I'll give you yesterday's example. There was a meeting going on, HOD's meeting going on, and my MD, there were certain things has not happened, as sometimes it happened that consignment was to go and it has not gone, and he was on song. Literally, he was on song. I'm being recorded, it may go to him also, it's fine. So, and I was the only one who was not speaking in that meeting. And he told 2-3 times, Mr. Tyagi, you are not speaking today. I said that I'm listening. And after that, I went, I called him and I discussed with him, sir, have you seen the body language of the people today? And so what do you say, body language of the people? And though nobody was speaking, even they were trying to hide behind each other. So we created this, and we talk about this like fear of failure. So I think we should practice it.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that is where, like, he says, but that is what it is, that low self, that is fine, sir. It has happened. But then the people are coming out, they have actually resolved the problems also. So as a promoters, as a leaders, we have to take into in our stride sometimes. So that is what I always believe, Ravi and Deepshikha, coming from Indian Air Force background. It's a courage to conviction of you as a HR leader to go and talk to, even if required, to your management. That will bring the shift.
Right. Thank you, Anilji. I
To make
believe
mistakes.
that
You need to allow people to make mistakes. You need to
yeah,
foster that also
yeah,
comes in continuous improvement.
right,
Yes, sir.
right.
You're right.
And I believe from your Air Force background and your learnings, will be really be useful for your people, for us, and I'm really looking forward for it to have more conversations with you. Really. And you touched upon to the next question where we were going, the practical examples of the continuous improvement. So I'll invite Deepshika to share some practical one or two examples quickly of those continuous improvement.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah.
So the biggest
Oh,
example I
sorry.
can give you
Uh,
again, Ravi,
some practical example of where you've nurtured or you've bought continuous improvement or where you've implemented the framework.
yeah. So A, I've done it in my own life. I said that having this
Yeah.
decision at the age of 18 that you'll work and you will go opposed to your parents' decision that you
Mhm.
will along with the study gonna work.
Mm.
Tell you, will this decision was easy? I got rejected 50 times in an interview before securing a position as an HR executive in a company at the age of 18. Definitely. Reason being, I was not even graduate. And I was not having to reject kar kyun rahe? You know, very as an innocent baby. And then I got to the MBA is important. That those was the year where MBA was important more than your energy. People respect the energy more now because we have become vocal. So biggest example I can give you that in the peak recession, I took a toll on it. This is I'm talking about year 2008 to 10 peak recession. I've left
Mm.
my job becoming a consultant because I thought of okay, enough of being head HR in a company where I needs to wait for. You can say it's aggressive decision, but I think it was in my and definitely you need to improve a lot.
Mhm.
You need to inculcate in a young age lot of learnings, lot of frameworks
Mhm.
I've learned. Few got implemented, few didn't. But end of it, if I'll tell you the result, my company startup, wherever I worked, along with the personal connect, they said it helped them. Now, talking about the companies where I work, I've seen the organization when we actually, because what I do as a transformation coach is a big word. It's just not a tagline you can attach to your name. I'm a transformation coach because I've done certain courses. No, it's like I have you lived by it. If you lived
Right.
by it, you're an example and you can see that your organization I can change is a big
Mm.
remark. They
Right.
say that our internal HR is not able to change. How will you change? You got to listen to me. You got to
Mm.
really see me as an authority and you get to show up that. I think many
Mhm.
organizations where they were not able to see the performance in A players since a year, within the span, I will say that 6 to 9 months it took because definitely certain decision came in. I've not done anything. I've guided them, but they have grown in 4x, 5x in the growth profit. Forget about 4x, 5x. Entrepreneur says that 2x bhi aa jaye to bahut hai madam.
Mm.
Like, but when somebody is telling, and I've seen people won't reward immediately. Even I'm talking about startup founders, they will say, okay, dekhte hai, as a consultant, what you're bringing in. But eventually they realize that you're bringing those change in the company because what
Right.
I'm doing, I'm creating clear communication, transparency, bringing them, showing them that bridge that that's the way you need to go. People will go haywire. They will not again go by their own principles. You need to again mentor them. You need to again mentor them. You need to again mentor them. And I think that's how the change takes place. It's hard, but are you able to take hard things? So I live
Right.
by that. So many startups companies. I'll tell you, beginning of my career, I started consulting in 2013, Ravi, and
Mhm.
one of my client was Beer Cafe. Other was the health startup, Health Card, with a 40
Mhm.
employees company, where they were not able to see their growth. There were many consultants, but I was being the one around for 2 years. So I think there are many examples can be put, but when we really strive for change, I think this is one of the practice. I adopt very many framework, but as one of the framework which comes to OKRs, objective and key result. This is so simple, and I love that framework. I love that framework because it brings accountability, transparency, it connects dot to your strategy. It's definitely till the downline, your people are able to understand why you're doing what you're doing and why they should believe you. And once they believe it, accountability really happens automatically. Yeah.
Right.
So this is the way I have many examples where entrepreneurs didn't thought even 2x is possible, 4x and 5x is coming because they were very clear change we need to bring in. We need to bring in change to really see where we want to be there.
Thank you, Deepshikha. And you are inspiring a lot of young audience, I think so. You started at the age of 18 and failed many times and got then at HR position. And please, audience, if you want to get in touch with our panelists, I'll tell you towards the end how you can do that. But you're open to reach out to them. Anilji, can we hear a story or maybe an example from your Air Force days of the related to continuous improvement, how it is done in Air Force, how you experienced it, or how you have implemented it, anything, sir?
Yeah, I think the continuous improvement on personal level, the way the Deepshikha has told, I think similar kind of story I also have. Continuous improvement, what I have been doing, and it's a beneficial, for individual and of course the organization where they will contribute. You asked me about Air Force Day. I would like to give an example of my current organization where I am for 10 years now. But yeah, in Air Force, what I have seen, a person like me who comes from a village background joins Indian Armed Forces and not even knowing how to speak English and all that. I have seen how that gradually they change that through the discipline, through the creating a learning environment around. You are being asked to be speaking only in English, not in Hindi. The change, as Deepshikha was telling, is hard, even at that level of time. I've been asked to be we went from Delhi batch and we were scattered with other people. So in my room, during my training days, used to be person from all other place. One is from Kerala, other one is from Bengal, and so on. So that improvement sometimes is by observing. So that is how it is. I always, I would like to tell to the participants, any person who has achieved something has done only through the continuous improvement in his professional and personal life. I think that is something, the tagline and the key takeaway I would like to give to the participants. The second important part is continuous improvement in organizations. And that's where is I think my role is, and where I need support people like you and Deepshikha. I keep on telling, and I always have a respect. Why? Because when sometimes, as Deepika says, as a HR head, you get into so many things. When you have an expert who was earlier this side, as I told you that I was engineer, and then being into HR, I understand when I go and meet people on productions and in operations and all that, what they feel. So you people can add value to our endeavor of continuous improvement. But then you have to create a very, very robust internal mechanism also for your improvement. Because see, as a coach, as a consultant, you can come, you can advise, you can do. Let's say a doctor can diagnose based on pathology report and all that, and he can give the medicines. But ultimately, that medicine has to be taken by that patient, and that is where is the mindset change. Now coming back to this organization, I joined Ravi 10 years back. There was no HR except 2-3 firms, and today we are done the entire automations of HR system. We are on SAP SuccessFactors. We have implemented SAP all through, not only for HR but for entire process. So to bring this continuous improvement in our culture, what was important for us? For us was important two parts. One is quality. Second was people, as I talked to you earlier also. And our vision was to get into European markets. Our vision is to get to the US. So 4 5 years we started working upon it. So first we started taking care of both together. One is your quality system. So when I talk about quality management system, we employed the technology, as I was talking in the beginning, also technology. So have different softwares in the system, proper audit trail, securities and all that. And because QMS is quality management is very, very important for surviving business in pharmaceutical companies. I think there we have done a lot of work and it is continuing. When I come to the people process related things, I think people experiences, what they experiences, what they see is also very important. So we showcase to the management that now you know on quality parameters we have achieved all this, but then it will not continue if we invest on people. So if you don't invest on the people, our aspiration is to go. We have a very expensive softwares and all that. We can hire some people from outside, which we have done initially because it was also a startup. Now I can say it is a mid-sized company of around 1,000 crore when I joined over here. So what I keep on pursuing to the management and other senior people like that people investment is also very important. So 4 5 years before we started implemented SAP. I talked to my team, clarity of thought and communication. I told that every one of you need to take pride in it. When you go, sometimes it will be on your CV also. Right. That I worked in SAP environment. So let us be ready to put extra efforts. And Ravi always leading from the front. So I started leading from the front. If some people have to stay late, I will be also there. So that is kind of the things we have done. When I come to the employee experiences, what I thought of, this is latest I'm telling about the success factor. What what is in it for me? What an employee looks into it. He looks 2 3 things from you. One is very operational transactionals that on a click on his mobile, on cloud app, he can see all his leave, taxations, declaration, attendance, all this kind of things. Secondly, he looks from you that development, succession planning, how we can move up into the ladder on the organization. So we created that LMS module also in SAP, and I have tied up with 2 3 online platform, integrated that with the system. And what we have done, I as Deepshikha was talking about that your A-class employee or HIPPO we call nowadays, high potential employees and all that, then I put that into their hands. See, you have been performing, you have done this, not for everyone. A select a group of people, we created a different kind of a development plan. For other, we created a development plan and we linked it. And now with the technology enablers, at any point of time, not only me, they can also go and see it. And if suppose you are not doing it, and sometimes I believe in a very, very, when you want to do a improvement or culture changes, you have to be very, very participative. I have seen that if you do it by force, it doesn't happen. So if sometimes, and I say, Ravi, what happened? You are the one who yourself came, sir, I need this development and development. Just go see your screen. You have not completed these 3 courses. Why you have not completed? That is unstructured way. So that is what we have created kind of an environment, and people are coming forward and people want genuinely to be developed. Actually, Ravi, what I have seen, and I always tell to the management, people always want to contribute. So when they want to create a contribute, we have to create a culture around. And that culture has to be created by top management. And I'm very, very critical at times when this continuous improvement happens, again, going to the barriers kind of things. The most important is mindset opening of the top people. There's a saying goes for leadership, Mane Badhu Ave che. In Gujarati MBA, they say Mane Badhu Ave che. So when you get into that kind of a zone, your progress and organization progress comes to an halt. So that is what's my take on this and what we have done.
Very true. आपने Anil ji, you covered a lot of things from tech to the contribution, and it's very true that today everyone wants to contribute, and one of the aspect of continuous improvement is also allowing people to contribute and to have that open culture of contribution. So with respect to time, I think so there are quite a few questions and very interesting ones.
Yeah.
Very interesting one. So let me first take up this question. Can you expand communication, feedback, and recognition? Oh, very nice. Wow. Thank you, audience. So, what is the role of these in the continuous improvement? Again, that's a repetitive question. So, very quickly, Deepshika, first I'll come to you. And can you talk about why even this communication, feedback, and recognition is important in continuous improvement? Why even they are needed?
So, talking in the context of definitely a startup or any organization, not any startup, the solid impurity is lack of communication, lack of support of each other, not having clarity. People are operating from their judgment and point of views. This is most of the time we see blame, game, complaint. It's
Right.
easy to say that it is there, but tough to resolve it by just presenting your transparency. And I think as a founder, if you are vulnerable to people, talk from heart, provide the clarity about your ideas,
Very
provide
true.
the clarity on your strategy, goals, you provide that clarity, people become accountable automatically. They start understanding the importance of, as I said, that why you saying what you're saying and why they need to do. Then you don't need to go on, do this, don't do this. We don't need to spoon feed that. We make them accountable. And not only they become accountable in their work life, in their personal life as well. They thank you with a heart that you really brought the change in ourselves. So I think it was a communication. What was the other factor you said?
Feedback.
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 Feedback and
So
recognition.
constructive feedback, definitely we have heard. It's been a long time. You are you are into the HR fraternity. I will say more than a feedback. I think communication again, one-to-one talk works. So
Yes.
now I has grown up from the HR professional to consultant. I have seen more than feedback that I tell you to do this. I think sharing, talk, how
Share.
can we do this?
Agree.
How can we bring this change together? This works now these days, and more when as in young people is coming, they would like to listen this. And with this habit, what solution they can provide you? It blow my mind as well sometimes. I was thinking I'm very energetic, and I find myself like I'm not doing anything now. So, but the new changes, and they gives you that result which you even can't think, imagine, and more than your expectations. So I think that's why this is important.
Thank you.
We become
Anilji,
vulnerable.
Yes.
thank you, Deepshika. So,
I think-
Anilji, very quickly, can you touch upon these three
Very right.
aspects: communication, feedback, and recognition, and how you do it in your current role?
I think I'll take forward from where Deepshikha has left. He has told very important. Communication is very, very important. But nowadays in our organization, I think we do a lot of communication, even over communication. So most important is effective communication, around your purpose. That is very important. Secondly, feedback. I agree, Deepshikha. This is what is the challenges. I have told to do you this directive kind of a communication, and it's sort of the other person. So that creating, can we do like this? Can I help you? Can we together do? What do you think about the solution? Kind of a coaching. Till the leader doesn't come into that kind of a things, that is the role. This your improvement process is not going to be successful. That is one part of it. Secondly, timely feedback. I have seen many of the leaders. If a person has done, and it is based on sometimes on their own halo and horn effect. If that halo and horn effect come into it, and sometimes we appreciate people give a feedback, oh, you have done very good, and we don't know even what for we are talking about, he had done very good or not done very good. So that feedback based on facts and figures and timely feedback. Many a times the challenges come that leaders, they don't know how to give the feedback when the things are not going right, and then they give only the negative feedback. That is what it is to be avoided. Third, most important, as any human being, recognition. If you have done something good, it is not every time you recognize with material things and all that. Public recognition, your certifications, and of course, sometimes monetary also if they have done a good. But it needs to be done. So what I need to say that for all these three are pillar for continuous improvement for any organization. But all the three has to be done in time
In time, at correct way, in a
and correct way. Yeah.
correct structure. Like if I let's say example, Ravi, I would like to hear take this.
Please, please.
That when we sit with the CEOs and they said, once in a year we have given, one of the CEO was telling me he's given car as well. Like there would have
Uh,
been, but then still this employee is not performing. But you have given so big amount at the, in a way. I think what about if we can create it quarterly? Give construct. We sit for 15 days meeting, 20 days meeting. Give constructive feedbacks or create the communication. Like, okay, this is this way, and now this is the what so, rather than blame game, and how can we go about this topic? So
Ravi, I would like to add just one point over here, practical,
Please.
which we have done. Deepshikha can tell us, or you can tell me later on whether it is working. It is not, but it is working here. Generally, the organization they do the probation confirmation after 6 months, and that's what the practice is. And many times I have seen that business leaders or managers will come and then say after 2 3 months they have only selected the person that person, sir, he is not performing. What to do? Take action. I do not want him in my team. So what I have devised in this organization, I said like we do 1 month performance discussion. That is a discussion between manager and the employee. You just give that report to the HR for a report purpose. Then after 3 months, your manager and your HR BP have a common discussion about the progress, and then 6 months. So what I have seen that kind of a tendency, sort of, coming out of blue, that person is performing or not performing, and same times that employee also during this 3 month and 6 month is part of the discussion. So that is like one communication and feedback. I think, and my organization has got some value out of it. Yeah, Ravi.
Yeah, very nice. Sorry, I was on mute. Um, uh, I think so. We have touched upon communication, feedback, and recognition. And LG, as you rightly said, that timely recognition is very important. And Deepshika, you also expanded on why even that communication is important. But we need to also organization need to see, leaders need to see that are they over communicating? And definitely, yes, the feedback is very important. Feedback is a star. It motivates people. It engages people. And what I believe is in the open feedback system, not just the RO can give the feedback. It is a reverse way also. It's an open feedback. Anyone can give feedback to anyone. I can give my feedback to my leader. And one of the key thing, maybe we can put it as a topic because I love this topic as open feedback mechanism. So today I got
Ravi,
the my
sorry, one more thing I will tell you.
please,
Sorry,
please,
I'm
please.
excited to share with you that when we
Please.
come to the feedback, this we do we have done GLA 360, and that was started for MD, managing
Right.
director, for me as a CHRO, for CFO and CTO.
Very nice. Very nice. Looking at the time, and I'll remind everyone. I'll remind my attendees, participants, that we have. I'll share a form with you where you can communicate. You can reach out for any of our panelists, or if you have any question, you can reach out to us. We'll circulate a form. And there's one more question. Very quickly, looking at the time, we can just spend one minute on it. How can I support and encourage my team to embrace continuous improvement? So it sounds like a problem that the resistance is coming from the team, and I'm really working hard. So how can I support that and or encourage my team to embrace it? Anilji, very quickly from you first.
Lead from the front, walk the talk.
Okay, very nice. Lead from the front and walk the talk. Very nice. Deepshika.
So I think the one of the way we can encourage is really guiding them on a value principles, like what we stand by, and we really go by that. We can create structure formats for that. Not every time, as Aniji said, that over communication also becomes like it fails in the company. So structured communication. That could be town hall, that can be constructive 15 days check-ins, we sit, and definitely it's required time, but once it becomes a fashion in the company, it brings alignment, and the alignments create alignment between people, creates possibility for they taking accountability, they show up that result, what we want towards our goals.
Yeah. Thank you, Deepshikha. So I love these two questions, though we are running very short. So I'll just address those
Sure.
questions. How does joy of performing helps in continuous improvement? So please reach out to us. We will definitely going to help you. And job platform is built on the principles, on the framework of OKRs. And one of the pillars of job is continuous improvement through communication, feedback, and recognition. We'll help you out. Another question is, how do we align our continuous improvement efforts? Anilji, you talked about the methodology as one of those pillars. So I think so. It is about how do we align our methodology of continuous improvement with the long-term organizational goals and vision. Quickly, one in one sentence or two sentence, if we can hear something on that.
My take is that okay, we have a long term. Though it is really difficult to give answer in one line, but I will quote one example. I can address that person can reach to me subsequently.
Right.
I read from Sachin Tendulkar. Like I never ever thought of scoring 20,000 runs and all that. I worked on process and system each day and every day, and this is how the things has happened. So that is short answer for as of now. He can approach to.
Very wonderful example. Very wonderful example. Deepshikha, very quickly from you.
So very quickly from me is like continuous improvement, whether it's organization or the personal front, happen when you really check within. This is the version of me and what I would like to become today.
Yeah.
That's it. That's clear. What energy I am being, what I'm ready to contribute, what I'm ready to receive as an organization, as a founder, as an individual, as a working professional. What I am being today, it should have been in the being, not by doing or saying. So
Yeah.
I think that's the key.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. And I believe with the respect to time, we are just near to that. So let's move towards concluding the webinar. So first of all, thank you participants, and thank you speakers. I thoroughly enjoyed, and I hope the same from our audience. And looking at the question, I definitely think so that they're enjoying. What we learned, let me just sum it up, that there were key factors that support and sustain continuous improvement in organizations. We saw those and heard some pillars, okay, towards the continuous improvement. We also saw that what are the barriers organization face implementing constant continuous improvement initiative or plans. We also heard some very nice real life instances and some great examples also. And also we touched upon how to encourage the employees, and even how that leadership can also help. And it's about the walk the talk. And what is the role of leadership driving a culture of continuous improvement, and key strategies. And there were some, again, I'll say that there were some great examples quoted by both of our eminent panelists. And definitely, yes, we also touched about technology also, how technology in different ways can help us, like it's helping Anilji, and also how startups can take help of the technology. And it was really very exciting to hear from you, from both of the panelists. And one of the two key things, very star things, Deepshikha, you really shared that problem to possibility. We should think about this. And once within the company, if we are implementing it, the leaders should think that from the employee point of view, what is it and for me? So with that, I'd like to end the webinar. But just before ending the webinar, I'm just sharing a form with you, with everyone, where they can get in touch with us. This will be circulated, and you can reach out, just fill in your full name, business email